you may have... Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and we haven't talked about the Orville because there just hasn't been any news coming out. There is going to be another Comic-Con, this time in New York, but it's not going to happen until October. So in the meantime, we're left to look around and see what we can find elsewhere. The various shows that we've been looking for to return are not going to, possibly in this calendar year, and so it's going to be a while. We have a waiting period. At first, his statements that they wanted to do the show in a different way, and that Fox was nice in letting them stay with Hulu rather than staying on the network. And at the time, I didn't really think that there was anything that you could say that would make me believe that he was telling the truth here. It was just a way of covering up that maybe Fox was canceling the show, and he was saying, no, we didn't, that we weren't fired, we quit. That's not the case. From things I have read, Fox Television would have liked to have kept the Orville, but Seth wanted to do it in a much more careful manner than Fox could afford to let him do it. I'm not talking about money here, because basically I saw a list of programs and the cost to produce programs. The average television program takes about $5 million an episode, according to this that I read. And Family Guy, which is Seth's big cartoon series, is a very highly rated show, makes loads of money, and is one of the cheapest shows to produce, less than $2 million an episode to produce Family Guy. Now, that's not because cartoons are cheap, it's expensive to animate, but he is very efficient in the way that he produces, he storyboards everything, and so they know exactly what they're going to do when they go out. And so it's a very fast method of making cartoons, and obviously has been very successful. In fact, the Orville is not as expensive as science fiction shows tend to be. And in fact, these days, television has become so expensive in some cases that sci-fi programs are not the most expensive. The most expensive show that was done this last year was Game of Thrones. Shows like The Big Bang Theory, which made a lot of money, cost incredible amounts of money, more than the science fiction shows, just because its stars were paid commensurate to their popularity. So it wasn't really the money, I think, that Fox saw as a reason to let go of Seth. The fact is, Seth wanted to go. And the reason that he wanted to go was he wanted time. There is always two things that are together in making any kind of television show or movie. There is the amount of money you have to do it with and the amount of time that you have in order to get it done. But Seth is known to be able to make money stretch, but it takes time to put the kind of care in the program that he wants. Going back over his statements at the time that he made the announcement that he was moving the Orville to Hulu, he gave compliments to the Fox network for letting him do it. It leads me to believe that there was some kind of contract that the Orville was supposed to do a third season on Fox, and they allowed him to move it to Hulu because they realized he wasn't going to be able to put together the show he wanted to on their schedule. On their schedule, he would have had to have slapped it more together and would not have had the finished product that he wanted. I believe he wants the Orville to be something that can last for years long after it's produced, as Star Trek has been. And the way to do that, the real proper way to do that, is to make the show where it is visually and audibly perfect. And he wanted to achieve that perfection. It takes time to do. And so it goes with the visual effects, with the audio effects, with the costuming, with the makeup. All of this stuff takes time to do it just right, and that's what he wants. And so he asked Fox to let him go to Hulu, and Fox let him go, despite the fact that they were making money on this. The fact that they had other shows that were valuable to them that Seth had on there. They wanted to keep him at least for that. They didn't want him disgruntled. And so they said, take it to Hulu. Because when it comes down to it, why does Disney want the Orville? They already have Star Wars. They already have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They don't need the Orville. And while there are some people who are saying that the Orville may be going there to die, I don't think so. I think that Seth is wanting to make it into such a production that no matter whether they go just one more season or even more, it's going to be something that's going to last years after all this other stuff has become less popular. And so that's my take on the nature of the move to Hulu from Fox. You may have a different idea. You can go below in the comments and let me know what you think. Also, I found some interesting things in the sound design. Everybody has to make up their own sound effects. It was always known in Star Wars, that the blaster shots were a crescent wrench hit on a guy wire of a radio tower, and that's what made that pum sound. You add a little reverb to it. The sound of the lightsabers was the warming up of an old projector at USC. Everybody has to make their own sound effects and then make them sound science fiction-y. And while the Orville has used a number of synthesized sounds, they have also found a number of natural sounds in order to make things sound more real while they're still science fiction-y. For instance, the sound of the ship comes from whales. In fact, various different kinds of whales distinguish the different ships. The krill ships sound more adversarial, shall we say, than the Union ships, which have a kind of a warm feel, and the Kalon ships, which they introduced, which are huge. They made them sound more mechanical. And you'll notice this as you go back to watch these shows, that they put a lot of emphasis on the sound, things that you wouldn't notice unless you're looking for it. And Seth has been looking for it. Same thing in visual effects. What does it look like when they jump to the quantum drive? What does it look like when they fire a blaster, when they go into a fight scene, when they do various things that there's no natural visual for, but has to be made up in the science fiction universe? It is a tribute to Seth MacFarlane, who has this vision and wants to see it through. He doesn't want to make it another Star Trek: The Next Generation. He wants to make a show that is unique, with its unique look and with its unique sound. I'd like to know what you think about the show, about the sound, about the special effects. And, he didn't ignore the acting either, but that comes too. And what you think of it as being more craftsmanlike with Hulu than it could be with Fox, because he wouldn't have the time to do all the fine-tuning because of the scheduling necessary to make sure it gets there by fall or by the first of the year. This unties these straitjackets that shows are put in by going to streaming services like this. So, let me know what you think. Put it down in the comments. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so and ring the bell. That will let us know, or let you know, when we have another video coming your way. So, thank you for watching. Until next time, don't go far.